Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank everyone for joining us for today's webinar. I want to introduce Natalie Young, who's one of our senior account managers that will be presenting on today's topic, why every race should offer teams. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can type them in the chat to have them answered.
Thanks, Val. I'm Natalie, and I'm going to get started. Okay, so on today's agenda, we will be covering why we think every race should use teams, doing an overview of the team types that are available on RunSignup, and covering some incentives. We're going to talk about some ideas and incentives we're seeing races use across the industry and how they're leveraging them to grow their races. Team program promotion, so how you can use RunSignup to promote the team program that you build. And then we'll do some takeaways and a recap to cover the trends that we're seeing in the industry and how it all ties in with team programs. And then at the end, like Val said, if anyone has questions, if there's time, we will go ahead and go through those. So why teams? Why should every race offer some type of team program? Because participants demand teams. Everything is better with friends, and over the past 6 years, we've been seeing a steady 29 to 31% of participants joining or creating teams. A lot of these team programs have incentives, but we are seeing a relatively steady number, even when races don't offer incentives for their team members. So team participants make up a huge percentage of your race when you offer them. So it's very important to create that type of engagement for your participants attending your race. So team interactions can enhance every step of your race experience. You'll see members getting together to do pre-race training, and they'll prepare as a group. One of my favorite parts of teams is all the matching team shirts and the teams that show up in costume. It makes the experience a lot more fun. And then race day photo sharing and social media competitions and interactions. And you'll also see a lot of teams who do some type of post-race celebration in your team festival area or at the finish line. So it just creates an overall very engaging experience that makes the race more fun for your participants. Teams are your not so secret marketing weapon. By having a team program, it allows you to expand the reach of your event, and your team members and team captains will actually help bring in new participants for you. So when I create and join a team, usually when I create a team as the captain, you'll see most captains sharing their team link, sharing that they've created a team, and they'll recruit their friends and family members for you. We find that teams with incentives, by offering price breaks or team gifts, team prizes, or on-site tents, there's a higher percentage of team captains who are recruiting team members for you at your event. So it increases the reason for your participants to share and grow teams. And then we mentioned before, it just creates an overall more engaging experience. But having a team, whether it's group teams or relay teams or fundraising teams, it just allows your participants to feel more inclusive and an overall better experience for them. So team types. On RunSignup, we have 3 different team types. We have group teams, which are more like social teams. They can also be used for relays. Fundraising teams, which are made up of a group of individuals raising money together for a cause. And corporate teams, which are geared towards large companies, usually who want to cover the full amount or a partial amount of the registration fee for their employees or employees' friends and family members. We won't be covering corporate teams today, but we will make sure to include a link to Matt Sinclair's fancy corporate team webinar in our follow-up email that will go out. There's just not enough time to cover all of the corporate team features today, but that is a basic overview of how corporate teams, or what corporate teams were designed for. So group teams allow you to create social experiences, competitive experience, or relay teams. So one of the things I like about relay teams is, especially if you have a marathon or a half marathon, it helps break down longer distances so they're more achievable to new or inexperienced runners. With our group teams feature, it allows you to create flexible pricing options. And because of the flexibility and the advanced features that we have with our group team settings, you have more flexibility to create creative solutions and unique team programs. Fundraising teams. So we have a very robust fundraising and donation platform on RunSignup, and one of the things you can do with that is allow people to create fundraising teams, which are perfect for nonprofits with a heavy donation focus. Usually the main goal of a fundraising team is to raise money, which is what you want. They're raising money for cause-driven events and nonprofits. With fundraising teams, people who are participating in the event or people who haven't registered for the event can join a fundraising team. So it's inclusive for everyone, which results in more money being raised for your nonprofit. And it's just a great way for individuals to work together to reach their common goal. We have lots of fundraising webinars, so we'll also make sure to include links to those in our follow-up email. Incentivizing team members. So we work with tens of thousands of races on RunSignup, and those who have teams have found some really unique and creative ways to incentivize their team members, and I'm excited to share some examples with you. So earlier we mentioned that across the industry, we're seeing 30% of participants join a team when they're available. When you create incentives for team members, sometimes you'll see a higher percentage of people joining the team, because the best marketer for your event is a participant who loves your event. By creating a team captains, team members, they will share with their friends and family because they want to grow their team, and overall they want their friends there, so it's a better experience for them on race day. When you build a team program, you'll want to clearly define what it is, what the benefits are, and list the details on your race website and your race page. Make sure to clearly outline the benefits. Keep it simple. If they get a team tent, let them know that. If they get price breaks, let them know that. The clearer you are, the more people you'll have joining teams and recruiting friends and family members for you. You can also add text to the confirmation email to highlight teams. And I like to recommend that you use our incomplete registration emails to promote teams. So our incomplete registration emails automatically go out to people who started the registration process and didn't finish it. It's a great way to mention, hey, did you know about our team program? By joining a team or creating a team, you can save money, and also our top teams can win this prize if you're doing some type of competition or incentive like that. And you can also use registration follow-up emails to promote teams. So our registration follow-up emails will automatically go out to people on a specific date or a specific number of days after their registration is complete. That's a great opportunity for you to tell people, don't forget to share your team page with your friends and family members, and then reiterate whatever your team program is. So some ideas and examples that we've seen from events across the industry who have had very successful team programs are price breaks. So on RunSignup, there is a way to do automated discounted team member pricing and refunds based on group size. Custom team items, shirts and bibs or bibs, which I'll cover next and give you some examples of races who have done that. sponsor swag. So you can do something like top teams receive socks or hats from this sponsor and incentivize people to have a minimum number of members on their team to earn that swag. Exclusive team packet pickups, and then team prizes for a variety of reasons, which we will also cover. And then team celebrations are also fun. I've been at races that have had team festival areas or team specific tents, and it's always fun to see all the teams together in their costumes or matching shirts in the festival. It's a really great experience. But we'll start with team pricing and automated refunds. So this is the set and forget feature. Once you turn it on, the system does the work for you. But the benefit of team member pricing and automated team refunds is that everyone on your team benefits, even those who register first. An example of this is teams with 5+ members save $5 on registration. When you set this up, the first 4 members to join a team would pay the full price. When the 5th member joins, they will automatically receive discounted pricing. And as soon as that registration is complete, within 30 minutes, the first 4 people on the team will automatically receive a refund. And our team member pricing and refund can be tiered. So this allows you to give bigger discounts and bigger refunds to larger teams. So it just really incentivizes people to keep sharing and keep growing their team throughout the entire course of registration. And if you already have registration set up with teams and you haven't enabled this feature, I recommend checking in with your account manager first. We don't usually recommend adding team member pricing or refunds if registration is already live, if you have a team component and already have a lot of teams and a lot of team members. So custom team items. We work with a large breast cancer walk, and they offer, if your team has more than 12 members and you register before the cutoff date, you can have your custom team logo printed on the back of your shirt. This event has consistently had more than 10,000 people every year of their race, even in 2020. And they have the highest team participation rate I've ever seen, but 55% of participants in their entire event have always joined teams. And the average team size for all of their teams was 20 members. But they did have some teams in the hundreds, just very high team participation rate. So one takeaway from that is people are very excited about custom things to celebrate their team or celebrate them. And I realize that that might not be feasible for all races. It does require a lot of prep and a lot of collecting of logos and setting up screens or however you have your shirts printed. So one thing that is similar to that we have seen is personalized team bibs. So instead of doing the shirts with the logo, you could do a team cutoff date, register before this date, and you'll get your custom team bib with your team name. And that is a more cost-effective option that you could offer to your team members. Having that cutoff date for the personalized bib with the unique incentive allows you to create a sense of urgency to drive early registrations with that deadline. And then the third example I had about custom team items is we work with another large race on the East Coast, and they offer teams with more than 40 members a team tent in their finish line area. When they market their team program, they highlight that this is limited to the first 20 teams to hit 40 members, but it really helps them drive early registration and a good percentage of team participation. The data is a little skewed here because their race sold out very quickly. So overall, 25% of their participants joined a team. It probably would have been a little bit higher than that if they didn't sell out so quickly or if they didn't have a cap. But overall, the average number of members that they had on their teams were 31 members. But fun fact about this race and how I think it ties in so perfectly with our high threshold, high reward mentality that you've heard us talk about at RunSignup with teams and with our referral rewards and swag rewards, is because it was such a unique reward but limited to the first 20 teams. They actually only had a handful of people that hit 40 members. So they didn't have to actually set up 20 team booths at the finish line. It was more like 4 or 5. So just a great example of something that drove urgency but was also exclusive. So sponsor swag, Bob's Race, Scott Coffee Run, they offer special prizes and sponsor swag to groups with more than 20 members. The socks that they give out to those teams is donated by a sponsor, and you have to pick up those socks at packet pickup in the running store. So this is a win-win for teams with more than 20 members and also for your sponsor, because it creates that foot traffic and sponsor exposure. Another example of sponsor swag is celebrating captains of large teams. So maybe you can't afford to give a prize to all of the members on a team, but you can still celebrate those captains. So I do work with the race and they just celebrate the top captains. They have prizes donated by their sponsors. And before the award ceremony starts, they'll call up the top 3 team captains and their sponsors will hand over the swag and the prize to the captain. So this is actually great because of the recognition and sponsor exposure, but also the participants at the award ceremony can know that there is a team program, and it helps with repeat team participation and growth for future years. Exclusive team packet pickup is another incentive that we've seen work well. For example, that large breast cancer walk, they offer team packet pickup the week before individual pickup. So this makes sense for them because there is a lot of prep that's involved, but it allows team captains to feel exclusive. They get to go to a special packet pickup that's just for them. They pick up all of the gear so they can distribute everything to their team members. And it's also time for them to spend with the race organizers. And the race organizers really focus on these team captains and celebrate them. And they have a very high rate of repeat team captain participation. You could also do, maybe you don't want to have a whole separate day for team packet pickup. You could do exclusive team hours. So either open early or stay late. That time at packet pickup is for team members only. And it's something that you can highlight as an exclusive team benefit on your race page during the registration process. So the more things that you can offer to teams and clearly outline, the higher percentage of team participation you will have. And then an exclusive team packet pickup area. I work with a race and they use this in their marketing. As a team member, you'll receive exclusive access to the team festival at packet pickup and on race day. So this encourages individuals to create teams and join teams so they can get into this special exclusive area. And then there's nothing like a little healthy competition. So we see a lot of races that give out team prizes. They will give prizes to the largest team or the top fundraising team, which is the team that raises the most amount of money. The fastest team, usually this is for relays. If you are going to offer this type of award, make sure to check with your timer first. So don't just add it and then expect it to happen. Make sure to check in with your timer to confirm that's something they are able to do and want to help with. Team costume contests are really great. And then social media team contests. So You can create a hashtag that's unique to your race and your team program. And in the confirmation emails and wherever you're promoting your team program, you can encourage your teams to get together, post a picture of their team, and make sure to use that hashtag. Then you can search for that hashtag on race day, find the best picture, and offer them some type of prize at the award ceremony. And it's also free marketing because they're tagging your event and they're posting on social media, and it's really great exposure for your event and fun for teams. For fundraising teams, we have team fundraising badges. This is a relatively new feature, but it allows you to help your fundraising teams achieve their goals with badges. So you can see on the right-hand side over here, there is an achievements display, and it showcases badges that the team has earned and upcoming badges that can be earned. So motivates team members to hit that next level so they can unlock that next badge. When you're creating badges, you can use default badges or you can upload your own. I highly recommend uploading your own custom badges. It helps tie in your nonprofit mission and ties in with your race page and race theme. But it really does help motivate team members to keep recruiting members on their fundraising team and sharing their page to get more donations. So we're going to do a quick overview of the group team setup options. With our group team setup, you would navigate to your dashboard. There, we will also include links where you can see that. But we'll cover the group types, the advanced settings, and some of the display options you can use when you set up groups and teams in your event. So the first thing is the group type. You can call the group type whatever you want. It's fun to be creative, but you also want to make sure it's something that people will be able to understand. So social team, caffeine challenge team, make sure to include team or group so it's self-explanatory during the registration process. And then you can enter a group type description. So when someone goes to create a team, this description will display for them during the registration process. So it's nice to highlight any type of benefits that they'll receive here in addition to your race page. We have a lot of advanced team settings because we work with so many races who do so many unique things. So there are a lot of options, but you can customize the team joining end date. This is the last date people can join teams, and team changes. So when you set up a team type, you can choose if that team is able to or is allowed to change their type or their name. So you can set a cutoff date. If you're doing personalized bibs for teams, it's really great to use this cutoff date so they aren't changing their team name after you've already printed their bibs. We have gender restrictions. This is great for relay teams. If you're doing male teams, female teams, co-ed teams, it takes some of the guesswork out or all of the guesswork out for you because you're making sure that there's only females on female teams and that co-ed is a mix of genders. Size restrictions, you can set a minimum number of members, maximum number of members, maximum number of female members, maximum number of male members. So there's a lot of customization options there. And you can also set age ranges. So if you want to make sure that only people over the age of 21 can join a team or only youth, you can set those age restrictions to prevent people from joining teams. All right. Display settings. So by default, when you set up teams, group passwords are allowed. You can make it so that group passwords are required or that passwords are not allowed. You can also customize the display for teams. This is the tab that will show on your race page, and you can customize the word administrator. So our default is administrator and administrators. I always change this to captain because a lot of people don't understand what the word administrator is, and captain is pretty standard. And if you have a relay team or a team-specific event, you can require that participants join a group when they're registering for that event. This is what the registration flow looks like. On the first page of registration, there's the radio buttons. Would you like to create or join a team? And then this is the team creation and team joining page. So it's very straightforward, very streamlined during the registration process. Group team pricing. So we've discussed the discounts by group team size and refunds based on team size. And we also have group setup fees. We have a very detailed tutorial that walks through how to set up team member pricing and team refunds. We will include that in the email, the follow-up email that will go out later today. But this is just a quick overview. So you can enter, this works just like registration periods in the Race Wizard, but below is where you can customize the pricing. So in the example earlier, after member number 4 joins the group, the members will pay this price. Team refunds are on the same page below team member pricing, and this is where you would customize. After team member number 5 registers, let's go ahead and refund the first 4 members $5. We do have a way to charge group setup fees. So it's pretty rare for this setting to be used, but there are some teams that want to charge everyone who is setting up a team a fee because they're giving them something unique or special. If you have a need for that, it is something we can do. So people will be required to pay that setup fee when they're creating a team. Okay, team program promotion. There's lots of different ways that you can promote and call out your team program on your RunSignup page, but here are some of my favorite tips and tricks. So event display options. These can really make your event tiles and your event selection page look very pretty. Here's an example. So you can add the tile banner in this screenshot. The banner is where it says the more the merrier. You can add the event highlight, which here I've added teams with 5+ members, save $5, and a description. The description shows on the event selection page, so that will show on the second page of the registration process. And then brand new, this just came out a few weeks ago, there's now the option to add an image to your event tile. So it will look similar to that, but you can add any picture that you want to make your event tile stand out. I've mentioned before, it's really important to highlight all of the benefits of your team program, how it works on your race page. You can do this by adding a custom section. Whenever you add a custom section, by default, it shows on your race info page. But you can also make it its own menu tab, which I've done in this example here. So once you've created the custom section, you can go to custom content display settings and turn that custom page into its own tab. So this will show in the menu, and it's a little bit easier for people to find. And we've covered this earlier, but just quick overview. Make sure to add information about your team program in the confirmation email, and you can use your incomplete registration emails to promote the team program, to encourage people to come back and register, and also in your registration follow-up emails, reminding people it's not too late to join a team, and reminding people to recruit friends and family members. This is a fun little workaround. So this is not designed for teams, but I love this little workaround, so I wanted to share it. On our miscellaneous settings page, this was actually designed for multi-person registration. So to prompt people to add additional members to their cart to register multiple people at a time. But when you add custom text in that section on the miscellaneous settings page, it shows during registration under the events. So I think this is perfect for teams because it shows right above add another registrant. So it might prompt them to not only register someone else at the same time, that way they can create a team and add that person to their team during the registration process. Now for takeaways and our recap. Every year we release a race trends report. Johanna spends a lot of time on that report and it's amazing. We'll include that link in the follow-up email as well. But last week, Bob released our mid-year trends report. I turned it into a tiny URL at the top of the page here, just so that it's easier to type in if you wanted to view it now. But the trends that we were seeing when this was posted last week will probably be consistent for the rest of the year, and how teams can help with that trend. So we're seeing slow regrowth from 2019. We're still clawing our way back from COVID, but it's an example of why teams are more important now than ever, because they're a great way to engage your community and create that interaction for your participants at your event. We're also seeing disappearing events. So on average, 20% of the events that took place in 2019 have not returned, and they are probably not ever going to return. So this creates room for new events and growth of existing events for ambitious race directors and creative concepts. So having a team program, promoting that team program can really help make your event stand out. Prices are rising, obviously. Inflation is a big thing this year. Prices are rising for event directors and participants, for everyone. So don't be afraid to try new pricing strategies and use cutoff dates for incentives and to create and drive urgency. Team pricing strategies, the automated team member discounts and refunds are a great example. And using the team joining cutoff date or custom shirts or custom bibs really drives that sense of urgency and early registration. Young runners are absent. So the percentage of runners under 30 is declining and continues to decline since 2019. Young runners crave social experience. They want that engagement. They want something that's fun, and a team program, team incentives, team festival area, they are ways to help facilitate that. So make sure to keep everyone, all ages, all genders in mind when you're building your program, something that's going to be fun for everyone. But team registration is consistent. So that 30% average number stays the same across the industry. So it continues to draw in 30% of participants, which just reiterates how important engagement and interactive experiences are for your event. So go forth and get social, and keep in mind that the best marketer for your event is the participants who love your event. If you have a great race and great experiences and a great team program, you're just making it easier for your team captains and team members to market and recruit friends and family members for you. And the more the merrier. I think I've said that 30% number enough, but keep that in mind when you're building your program. And then keep it simple. So I've covered a lot of ideas, a lot of different incentives, a lot of different races and things that they are doing. Don't try and do everything. Pick something that will work well for your event, that will be something you can accomplish, and then make sure to clearly explain it If you overcomplicate things and people can't understand what your team program is, who's eligible, what they can win, it's just going to hurt your team program. So keep it simple, clearly define it, include that information on your race page, and then have fun. So get creative and build a team program that you are excited about. If it's something that you're excited about, it's going to be easy for you to talk about it, easier for you to promote it, easier for you to remind people to do it. And your team members will be excited about it too. And that's it. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, I think Val, if you want to share some of the questions that came in, there weren't a lot of questions, but
Yeah, so we had just a couple of questions that have come in, and Kimberly wants to know how she can have both social teams and fundraising teams without confusing participants.
So we do, one of the things we have with our team fundraising setup is to force people who create a social team to also create a fundraising team. I highly recommend that setting if you're going to set up both in your race. But you're right, it is confusing. So we don't usually recommend that people set up both because people get confused. What is a social team? What is a fundraising team? What are the benefits of each? So I do recommend that setting to link social teams and fundraising teams together. It automates the process during registration. So if I create a social team, it's automatically going to force me to create that fundraising team with the same name, and everything is linked together, and members will also be on the group team and the fundraising team. If you do decide to do both, I would make those different tabs on your race page and clearly define what is a group team, what is it called, what does it look like, what are the benefits, and then outline fundraising teams in a separate section.
Okay, and then Randy has asked, can teams be open or closed like a controlled entry? Thoughts about the best way to go about that?
I don't understand that question. So Randy, we will follow up with you to get some clarification on that, and then I will be able to help with that.
Michael wants to know if there's any particular concerns I need to be aware of when adding teams to a race that is already open.
Yes, if the pricing, there's two different areas there. If registration is already open and you don't have teams set up at all, you can set up teams. It's the team pricing component that can be tricky if registration is already live and you already have teams. So in that case, I recommend reaching out to your specific account manager so they can look at your race and give you recommendations on what will work best.
And Sarah is wondering if we have any data, what data, oh, sorry, it just went away. All right, what data do you have about interest in relay teams?
Don't know if we have any data that's specific to relay teams.
I can chime in one thing on that. We don't have any from our platform, that is, because we don't really have a way to pull that. I know recently Running USA put out a survey that indicated strong interest in relay teams from younger participants, but that's the only thing that I've seen recently.
I will say with relay teams, if you have, like if it's a marathon relay team where there's handoff points, especially with rising costs and prices, just make sure to evaluate that before you add the option so that you can make sure your relay team will cover the buses and the stations and whatever you need at the different relay points.
Okay, so Randy sent in a follow-up question and it says, can a team captain regulate who can join a team? And can I set up registration so individuals can jump onto an existing teams to get a discount?
So for the first part of that question, when you're setting up teams, we covered the password options. So you can set it so that passwords are required, they're allowed, or they are not allowed. So in that case, you could choose either required or allowed. That way the captain can set their team password and people will only be able to join that team with that password. Also for team types on the advanced settings, you can choose if captains can add people to their team or kick them off the team. So I could kick Randy off my team if I didn't want him on it. So, and then what was the second part of that question?
Can I set up registration so individuals can jump onto an existing team to get a discount?
We'll send a follow-up email because I still don't understand if you're referring to during the registration process or after the registration process, and there's caveats to both.
And Kayla was wondering if you have any examples of races that are already offering teams that they could look at.
We can send some examples in the follow-up email because we need to get permission to share those races before we display them.
Well, I think that's a really good set of questions, and thanks everybody for your participation. And thank you, Natalie and Val, for sharing such great information, and everyone for attending.
Thank you.
And a recording of this will be sent out to everyone, so you'll be getting that. And yes, you can share it with other people in your team. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.